Yeah, maybe a windy day, but I'll go ahead and do an update. So I haven't done one in a while, but this is over the Kawasaki Versys X300. Now this is the smallest displacement Versys they currently have. I know overseas, I do believe they have a parallel 250, but this is the parallel 350. You can see a little parallel. There's the jugs right there. But this bike replaced my Lifan Gpr 200, and to go from a 200cc single cylinder to a 300cc twin cylinder, I can tell you there's a huge difference in power delivery, rideability, highway riding. You do know that in the updates that I gave, the Lifan actually had some electrical issues, and it had some type of ground issue, something I don't know, and it actually caught on fire, burning the whole wiring harness and the battery. So I went out and bought this one. Got this one in September of 20, but it was a 2017. That's why it is that beautiful Kawasaki green, which is an amazing color. Each year they have a different color in different countries, but this is probably my favorite color, especially whenever you start adding the factory engine guards, or even the aftermarket ones. That black on green looks good. There are a number of companies that make those, but those are the factory ones. You can add some driving and or fog lights to the front there, and there is a place to add the switch up here on the little dash. You can have a charger here and a switch there. Now this bike, particular one, how many miles do I have now? 452. See that? 452. It's been averaging 56.1 miles a gallon. It's not even really broken in yet, but it does ride a lot smoother. Now, a few things that I have done with this bike is very few things, if anything. You know, changing fluids and whatnot, but I did add the Gpr exhaust with the catalytic converter. So the cat is actually inside here, which is nice. And so it does have the baffle system in it. So it is a little bit quieter, but it's not too quiet. It's a lot better than the factory one. I do want to delete this whole thing right here and have where the license plate just mounts underneath and the lights come out the side. That's something I've looked at doing, but one step at a time, right? I did, of course, add these. Some people call them crash guards, but I believe the factory ones call them engine guards or engine protectors. And they do mount right there on the side of the frame, and then they butt up underneath right here. You can see these bolts. Now this thing can be a pain to put on, but you just take your time and it turns out all right. So how do I like this bike compared to the Lifan, because that's what people have asked? I like it a lot. This particular bike is very neutral. Aside from the name, which is a long mouthful, everything else on this bike is just vanilla neutral. The shifting is very neutral. It's smooth. The linear acceleration, it won't snap your neck, and it's, you know, again, very neutral. I have not done a top speed run on this one. Like I said, I haven't even broken it in yet, nor do I think I could legally get a top speed on it, because at 8,000 RPMs in 6th gear, and you can see red line is at 12. This bike is already outpacing what the Gpr 200 did as its top speed limited out. So this bike at 8,000 RPMs will do, it says on the speedometer, 78 miles an hour. So don't know what it could do all the way up to 12. Legally, I don't think I could find out around here unless I took it to a track maybe. But highway speed 75. I have gone 80. It's easy to do on this bike, keeping up with traffic. It's not squirrely at all. Like I said, it's very linear, very smooth. The only time you experience anything that's not, I'd say, Cadillac smooth on this is when you start to get at about 6,000 RPMs. Any gear at about 6,000 RPMs and climbing a little bit, but by the time you get to 7, and a little after 7, it smooths out. But here in this area, it's a little buzzy in the foot pegs. And I guess that's just the balance of that twin cylinder liquid cooled 300cc engine. Now, I've oiled the chain. Like I said, I've changed some fluids. Haven't really messed with this bike too much. There was no need to actually tune it, adding this slip-on, because that is a slip-on only. That is not a full exhaust. If you notice, that is still the factory pipes on the front. That is factory all the way to there. This is the catalytic converter that slips on, and then this is the aftermarket Gpr exhaust. All of that, it's a nice bike. I do not like the fact that those head pipes coming out of the jug, when I bought it, they were beautiful golden color. They now look rusty, and I know that's a result of heat, but look how good that still looks. Look at that. Small complaint. You know me, I'm always going to try to nitpick something, right? But not a whole lot to nitpick on this bike. It's kind of like your good friend next door. It's there for you. It does what you need to do, but it doesn't really go overboard. It's just there. Now you look, it does have this, and I've actually carried a few things on the back. It doesn't really cause the bike to become unstable. I have not ridden with anybody on the back. I don't tend to do that, but it does have a large pavilion seat. Look at that. So if you did want somebody, it's got the pegs. But again, I don't. Even with the, look at that. And that's another thing with this exhaust. I'll do a review of this exhaust later, but I mean, this bracket came with it. Sounds nice. You want to hear it? Well, let me go ahead and do that. So, should be in neutral. And it is. Let's hear the fuel pump. Well, let me do that one more time, get the fuel pump to actuate. There we go. I just like to make sure. And she's good. So this, compared to the factory exhaust, this does have a little more pop to it and a little more throat. You can remove this baffle here, but if you do that, you get to the point where you may have to remap the bike. So let's hear it with the... So there is a significant difference, I would say, with the factory versus that GPR. Just the sound of it. Now, power delivery, it didn't give it a whole lot of power. It did smooth it out though. I'm going to admit that in the lower RPMs, it, again, very linear bike, but it does seem to smooth it out a little more. It still buzzes kind of in that mid-range RPM, but that smooths out as soon as you get to the higher RPMs. Beautiful bike. I think I paid $4,300 new plus TTNL, shipping, assembly. I think I financed like 48, maybe 4,900. It was under $5,000 total out the door. Not bad at all. So it was, again, 2017 that I bought in 2020. So if this is a good replacement for the Li-Fan KPR, I do believe so. It's just a more powerful bike. Oh look, got to rep small engine velocity. You want to learn about the KPRs and small engines, you go to that YouTube channel. That guy's got it all. But anyway, I'll do some more reviews and get into little things I've done here and there. Oh, the one complaint, I almost forgot. Because it is a quote-unquote adventure bike and it's more street than off-road, on your foot for the kickstand, you do have to add the SRC is the one I used, but to make the pad wider so that it doesn't dig into the dirt and want to lean over on you, because the factory one is a little ovid and it's tiny. You can see it right there. That extension on any bike really that you're doing as a quote-unquote adventure bike that you may put slightly off-road and or all the way off-road, you probably want to do that because it seemed to sink in pretty good from the weight of the bike. It's not a heavy bike though. I can take it and pick it up one hand. If I don't watch, it'll fall on me. It's good neutral balance, lightweight. Hey, taking that factory exhaust off really did help it open up too, as far as being able to lean into those curves that kind of balance out that weight left and right. So if you're looking for a replacement for your Gpr 200 like I did, this is a good option. It's only 100 cc's larger, but twin cylinder, I'm going to tell you it's twice the power. So happy hunting, and hope you get a bike that you enjoy riding. Have a great day, everybody.